Shit. Did I leave the stove on?
Shit, honey, damn, it's Tri-Ogy. I'm Jackson.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Alex.
Today, we're here to do something a little different, as you can probably tell. This isn't going to be a reaction video because recently Disney has been hating us and it's been making our schedule really hard to keep up with all the copyright restrictions and stuff that they're doing on literally every X-Men themed thing, except for some reason, the actual trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. So, for this one, we decided to just watch Deadpool, the first movie, on our own time. We took notes, and we're just going to talk about the movie and what we like. We hope you guys enjoy this version of kind of content. We're just trying to do what we can to bring you guys entertainment without getting into legal trouble with the mouse.
Yo,
so
it's such a shame, too, because it was such a cool idea to have the video rolling, but you know what? Either way, we would have had to cut it down so much that it's probably going to be about the same experience doing it this way anyway.
Oh, yeah, I mean, honestly, the bulk of our video was always discussions anyway, so we're going to try this. We're still going to be having reactions to other movies, hopefully. We're going to be doing a little test of Top Gun for the 4th of July, so if that has come out already, then please go watch that. A little thumbnail thing, little link to it up in the corner here. So we'll try to do other reactions to other movies, hopefully that just aren't going to get blocked by Disney, so yeah. But anyway, let's get into this. We all wrote down notes on our feelings for the movie and what we thought about it and stuff, and I've got a lot of little fun facts, but we're going to start with Dylan. So Dylan, go ahead. What's your first talking point?
I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with pulverine.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was when Colossus wanted Wade, who wasn't born a mutant, into the X-Men. But in the comics, didn't they refuse to take Peter in because he wasn't a natural born mutant?
I don't know about the comics, but I do know that in the X-Men, not the X-Men, but the actual Spider-Man the Animated Series, the 90s cartoon, there is a crossover episode with the current running 90s X-Men show where Peter goes to the X-Mansion and all that, but they say he can't join the team because he's not a natural mutant. However, I don't know if anything like that ever happened in the comics. Off the top of my head, the only thing I can remember about any time Peter was offered to join the X-Men was probably in Ultimate Spider-Man, where he had a crossover with the Ultimate X-Men in the comics, and they asked him to join, but he was kind of racist towards mutants, which was a big theme in the Ultimate comics for some reason, even more than the regular comics. He was actually calling them slurs.
Wow.
So
Spider-Man was?
Yeah, Spider-Man was. That Ultimate Spider-Man was kind of a dick at the beginning. He gets better, but at the beginning he's kind of an asshole. But yeah, so they handed him the olive branch, but he rejected it out of just being a dick. And then later actually went on to date Kitty Pryde, who is Shadowcat. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But Colossus in the movie is adamant about trying to get Wade to be in the X-Men. He's given him multiple chances in the past apparently. And
4 or 5 moments
yeah.
define a hero.
Yeah, but it's funny to me how one thing I took notice of is they never really say in the comics whether or not or at least in not the comics but the older movies, they never really clearly state that they have a no killing rule or whatever. But it's very obvious that in this version of the X-Men they don't have a no killing rule, because Colossus and especially Negasonic Teenage Warhead just obliterate people, just absolutely murder them, and they don't care that Deadpool's really killing people. They just care that he's doing it in a very dangerous way for the public.
Right.
Yeah. Alex, what's your first talking point?
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.
So my first and probably my biggest thing that I noticed was, when I'd seen it before, I didn't really notice this, but I noticed a really big chunk of this movie takes place kind of like in a flashback. And I thought it was just a really interesting way to structure it, because the very intro of the movie starts like right in the middle of everything that's happening, like in the timeline of the movie. Then half of it takes place completely in the past, and then every once in a while it'll jump to the present and show what's going on, continuing on after the point that the movie introduces us to. So, and I didn't realize just how big of a chunk was actually just leading up to the moment that we see at the very beginning of the movie. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was like a really cool way for them to set up a plot, because you don't actually see that a whole lot in movies. They usually either follow a linear chronology, or they start from right at the end and build all the way up to the end, as if they're telling the story retrospectively.
Yeah.
Megamind did the latter one that you had mentioned, starting from the end and then going to the beginning, and then starting at the beginning right after that. That happened in Megamind as well.
Oh yeah, that's like an old trope. I forget which movie started it, but it's like that one trope's like, it's like doing that like synthesizer music, and it's like, well, you're probably wondering how I got here, and then like the movie starts. Yeah, it's just like, it's like writing a good book. You want to start it with the most exciting, thrilling part first,
right?
And be like, all right, hold up.
Yeah.
Here's the rest of it.
And even Edward Scissorhands did that. You know, it's the old lady turns out to be the teenager from the movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Man, Edward Scissorhands, great movie.
It really is.
I also had like a thing here.
Where is Francis? You made me ask twice. Is the mask muffling my voice?
The first person to die in this film, like when you're watching it, not canonically, but like start to finish, the first person to die is a random civilian in a car.
Oh.
Because Deadpool drops into their car, doesn't kill any of them at first, but causes them to hit like another car that's just driving on the highway, and that car slams directly into a pillar. So they're dead.
Ooh.
Oh.
So the first person to die in the movie is canonically a civilian who had nothing to do with any of this.
Oh,
That's probably why Colossus was...
Oh yeah, that's exactly...
Hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, again, that was Colossus's whole point. Like, he doesn't care that Deadpool's killing people. He's upset that Deadpool's going about it in such a way that puts innocent people in danger.
Right.
Point being, first person that dies is innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Also really love the whole gimmick with the 12 bullets.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. I loved that.
Yeah, I love that. And also like the scene where he like puts his hands up through the car window and he's like, "Don't shoot!" Like, or he's like, "Wait, you're probably wondering about the red suit." There's actually a split-second scene in the first trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine that looks like they may repeat that joke.
Ooh.
Oh.
Because he says it again in Deadpool 2. He does like a different version of it in Deadpool 2. And so I'm thinking they're going to make it a third time with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah. Dylan, what's your next talking point?
It's just confusing. Is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist to not hit you? I mean, the line gets real blurry.
So, I wanted to discuss the main villain's power and being able to not feel pain. And I feel personally that's just a terrible power to have.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds cool, but it's just not practical. Like, and I'm not saying it doesn't fit with like his unfeeling personality. It does, but it just doesn't make him seem like a large stakes villain not being able to feel pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, although at the same time it lines up thematically with Deadpool's, because it's kind of like the flip side of the same coin.
Right.
His power is not to feel any pain, but he can't really survive through anything. He can just kind of like struggle his way through it, make sure he gets patched up good enough before he goes out into battle next time. But Deadpool's is the exact opposite. He can feel all the shit that happens to him, but he cannot physically die.
Yeah. I actually thought, like a part through the movie, like, he gets stabbed through his chest with that sword. He doesn't really have a healing factor. He just doesn't feel pain.
Right.
So, like, he's actually taking substantial damage to his body. And this is, like, one thing that I feel like doesn't really make sense. It would have made a little bit more sense if they mentioned that he has a slight healing factor, just nowhere near as good as Deadpool or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, because then it would be like, oh, he got stabbed. He can't feel it, and it's gonna heal, so that's why he's not taking it that seriously.
Right.
But, like, if I can't feel pain, but someone stabs me in my chest really close to my heart, I'd still be like, oh shit, that's going to kill me. Unless I get to a doctor ASAP.
Right, because, you know, not being able to feel pain, that's a thing, like, legitimate, like, real people have. And, you know, one of the biggest problems with them is they'll do something or get into some sort of accident and not realize that they're hurt, and, you know, they wind up either walking on broken bones all the time, or there was this one news article about a kid who saw his mom had made cookies in the oven, and he took it out of the oven, put it on his lap, and was, like, just eating the cookies, and when his mom came home, he had third-degree burns all over him, and he was none the wiser until they went to the hospital.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. I thought we were just having fun. I didn't realize it was
You know, you were, you gotta say, you were nicer as a kid.
Yeah, that's crazy. On a lighter note of that, I wanted to mention how great and, like, perfect of a girlfriend / fiance Vanessa is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she is a doll.
Dude, I actually had that as one of my talking points until I took it out, which is really funny, because I wanted to talk about how, like, perfect their relationship is, because they know each other. Their chemistry together is so interlinked that they know what each other is thinking. They know how to put their own feelings aside for the feelings of their significant other.
Yeah, like how you know, obviously they're, like, she thinks, like, at the beginning when he meets her, she thinks that their relationship is just going to be casually sexual, you know, because she is a lady of the night, you know, because YouTube won't allow us to say any other terms. But it turns out to not be that, because Wade just takes her ski bowling and, like, just, like, gets a bunch of tickets to get a fucking Gundam ring, and then they start having sex on every holiday, and throughout that, you know, get to know each other better and stuff. And it's just, when he's diagnosed with cancer, like, that's the easiest out possible. It's like, I can't deal with this, you know, I don't want to be a bad person, but I can't, you know,
like, I can't live with you because you have an illness that I cannot fix.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that could have been the easiest, fastest time for her to leave, but she didn't.
Yeah.
And I fucking love her for that. And the fact that, like, she gets pissed at him for just disappearing, but anyone would if your significant other just up and disappeared one day after getting diagnosed with cancer, and you don't know where they are for, like, months to a year. But yeah.
I think it was, I could be remembering this incorrectly, but I think the timeline between him leaving and him coming back was like 2 years or something.
No,
like that.
I think they said something like 6 months.
Was it 6 months?
Or no, it was a full year, because here's the thing. At one point, Deadpool says to Blind Owl, when he gets back after cutting his hand off from Colossus, like after the bridge incident, he gets back to Blind Owl's place, and he tells him that the plan he'd been cooking up for an entire year just went down the shitter because of Colossus. So it's been a year, like roughly a year, since he disappeared and came back.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that. Also, I have one really quick one to end off, like, pretty much the beginning of the movie section.
Huh.
Why are you hiding that?
Nowhere.
Angel. You know, when Wade is being tested on and he's, like, trying to insult either Ajax or Angel, he calls Angel, quote, less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. Because so much of his dialogue is improv, Ryan Reynolds actually just improv that on the spot. And when he gets punched by Gina Carano, that's a real punch. She's actually punching him in the chin. And there's an outtake where you can see it.
You gonna leave me all alone here with less angry Rosie O'Donnell? Sorry, Gina.
Motherfucker.
But Dylan, what you got?
Have you seen this man?
Okay, so this is my last talking point. So I noticed a few spots at the very beginning of the movie, in the fight scene, and the very end of the movie, in the final fight scene, where there was just some really terrible CGI moments. But I will say that it's blink and miss. You know, you blink and you miss it. You gotta, like, I didn't notice it because this is my, like, third or fourth time watching Deadpool 1. And I didn't notice it until I got into this until I got through this watch through of it.
I actually have something to go right off on that, actually, because, like, this movie was never supposed to be made. Like, Fox fought it pretty much for a while after the reaction to, Deadpool in Origins Wolverine. They just thought, oh, Deadpool's a bad character, we shouldn't do that again. And Ryan fought for a while. But then also, after Green Lantern flopped, everyone was kind of like, ooh, we don't know if we should put Ryan Reynolds in any superhero movie, because Blade Trinity flopped. Or it did flop, but it wasn't well received. And then, Green Lantern flopped, and people were like, oh, let's not do that. But the reason for the bad CGI, or, not so great production or whatever, is because the movie was made on a budget of $58 million, but it made back $782.8 million and became the highest grossing rated R film of all time at the time.
Wow.
Deadpool 2 beat it, and then, it was beaten by Logan, and I believe Deadpool came close. But right now, Deadpool and Wolverine is tracking to make even more than that, and it was also the ninth highest grossing film of 2016, and the number one movie at the box office for 2016 was actually Captain America: Civil War.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So that's why, like, the CGI in certain parts is like that's why the movie is so short, and why the CGI in certain parts looks lacking, is just because they were working with as far as Hollywood standards go, very small budget.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, they were lucky they were able to do Colossus, honestly.
So I had something to go off of your Green Lantern comment.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Ryan Reynolds, I feel like the only reason why Ryan Reynolds did, or why Green Lantern flopped as bad as it did, was he wasn't, I think for one, he wasn't allowed to really do any improv. I mean, he did some improv, but he wasn't allowed to, like, be kooky and as, charismatically funny as he is in Deadpool 1 and 2. He played a more serious character in that movie, and that just does not really fit well with his
Acting style?
His acting style.
Yeah. Well, he started off in rom-coms, actually. It failed for multiple reasons. Main reason is horrible script, horrible movie, horrible decisions were made by the studio. Just no one really knew how to do Green Lantern at the time. They're probably going to try again soon with James Gunn's whole thing. But yeah. Alex, your next point?
You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a fucking kebab.
When I first saw Deadpool, I went into it, I hadn't really seen the X-Men movies in years or anything, and then when the X-Men show up, it was kind of like, oh, I definitely was not expecting this. But seeing the door, that's at the beginning of every X-Men movie, and, having, even though it's literally just the two of them, show up in this watch around, I was like, man, that's actually really cool how they managed to keep it in the same universe, keep it all tied together. Without, it doesn't even wind up being even that important that they're in the same universe, but it's just really cool to see that they thought about it to keep it all consistent and tied together like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when Colossus handcuffs Deadpool and is like dragging him. He's like, "I'm going to take you to the professor." Like Deadpool mentions the two actors who've played the professor.
Right.
Like, which one is it?
Right.
But so let's see here. All right, so I actually have a couple other things, quite a few things actually, because I took a lot of notes and had a lot of facts for this. So I guess we'll just do a lightning round of stuff.
All right, cool.
If I never see you again, I want you to know that I love you very much. And also, there's about 116 kilos of cocaine buried somewhere in the apartment, right next to the cure for blindness. Good luck.
The Deadpool rap sung during the murder montage as Deadpool like assembles his suit and is looking for Francis. It was actually sung and written by Team Headkick, and it's featured on their album Sofa King Gamer. Team Headkick was, I believe they're broken up now from what I could find. I didn't look into it too deep, but it looks like they were a YouTube duo, but they have since split up to do their own things. The final battle takes place on a destroyed SHIELD helicarrier. This was to secretly imply that Deadpool is in the MCU and takes place right after Captain America Winter Soldier.
Okay,
Since at the end of that film, they crashed all the helicarriers.
I did not catch on to that at all. Like, I knew it was either some kind of like helicarrier, or I thought actually it might have been like some sort of like a cargo carrier thing. But no, that's actually really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be vague enough to where they could get away with it without being like, because they could, obviously, it's Fox. They can't 100% say this is in the MCU. But they just wanted to be like, we kind of want to be in the MCU though. During the final fight, when Deadpool's like killing all the soldiers to arrange their bodies into making the name Francis. Deadpool spares a single soldier named Bob, as he knew him from a vague mission he participated in Jacksonville, Tennessee. The mission was actually alluded to earlier in the film when he was talking to Weasel in the bar about his like Black Ops, like Special Forces time when he was in that. But let's see here. Bob is actually the character's name is actually a reference to a character in the Deadpool comics who is known as Hydra Agent Bob. And Hydra Agent Bob was a character who was basically forced to join Hydra by his wife, who thought he was a pussy. And eventually he defects from Hydra but keeps the uniform and just helps Deadpool like take down Hydra bases and shit. And so that's what that was kind of alluding to, is that like that character's kind of supposed to be maybe a version of Hydra Bob. Speaking... What?
I said, gotta love Hydra Bob.
Gotta love Hydra Bob. Speaking of Weasel, who is played by T.J. Miller, T.J. Miller will not appear in Deadpool and Wolverine because of a sexual assault allegations that came out around December of 2017, while Deadpool 2 had already wrapped principal photography in October.
Holy shit.
It made it too late to exclude the character or recast Miller and do reshoots, because they were already done with principal photography. It was in the editing stages.
Damn.
Miller, however, recently stated in the Adam Corella show podcast, the Adam Corella show podcast, that he experienced a, quote, awkward moment while filming Deadpool, and said, quote, I get along with him a lot better on the first Deadpool because he wasn't a huge movie star. Here's a list of movies Ryan Reynolds had been in before Deadpool, which he claims didn't make him a huge movie star. And that list is Green Lantern, The Proposal, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Blade Trinity, R.I.P.D., The Croods, and Turbo. These were all movies that came out before Deadpool.
Yeah. And
So,
all pretty
TJ
sizable
Miller-
movies.
Yeah, and that's not even the state, like, the multiple rom-coms that he did before this, which almost all of his rom-coms are considered to be, like, classics of the genre. So, like, he's a huge movie star at that point. He's just, he wasn't at that high of a fame. And also, TJ Miller is not that big of a movie star, in my opinion. I mean, Alex, name one movie TJ Miller stars in, like, is the main character.
I can't even think of one.
Exactly. I think, honestly, this is all my opinion, I think TJ's just upset and that he's not getting that big Marvel paycheck, and he's just trying to make up excuses and bullshit to, like, explain why he's not in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan?
Right. Okay, so I know we've all been sucking Ryan Reynolds' dick for a little bit now, but I'm gonna do it a little more.
You would love it.
By mentioning or by going off of what you had said earlier, when he had played his guy in The Croods.
Yeah.
He played another guy called Guy in Free Guy. I thought that was just so funny.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh.
Speaking of people who've been canceled since Deadpool 1,
Oh.
Gina Carano, who played Angel in the movie, was actually canceled back in February of 2021 for posting on Instagram how she felt like, quote, being a conservative in America is like being a Jew in Nazi Germany.
That's not what you say.
She also quoted in the actual Instagram, it says, Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them for simply being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Gina. 1, fuck you, and 2, it's very different. At the time, Carano was playing the role of Cara Dune in The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, but was quickly fired by Disney, and her character never mentioned in the following seasons of the show. Basically just written out.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to say, I can see where she's coming from, but she used probably the worst example to use.
By
that.
far.
If she wanted to, if she wanted to state her case, she didn't need to go as far as saying, like, comparing that with Jews in Nazi Germany. Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, she was just wanting to say, like, oh, hey, I believe in these political things, and I feel like I shouldn't get hated for it, which is a good point. I mean, some political views are a little extreme, but I don't feel like anyone deserves to be hated for what they think, as long as they're not doing something to hurt anyone,
Right.
Like, if they're just saying stupid shit, they're just saying stupid shit. But if they're doing stupid shit, that's when you're like, hey, stop. But yeah, she took it way too far, used the worst example possible, and I haven't seen her in a single piece of media since.
Yeah, and you also got to think of this too, yes, there is such a thing as freedom of speech, but people are allowed to have their own opinions as well. They don't have to include you in their things, their movies and stuff like that. You can believe whatever you want, but people do not have to accept you based on those things.
Now, I have a good example of somebody who is a conservative, but still thrives in Hollywood nowadays, that being Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt has, well, here's the thing. Chris Pratt has never publicly stated how he aligns himself politically, because, honestly, I believe, as a celebrity, it's smarter if you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Some celebrities want to use their status to, get their views out there. I think it's safer to just do what he does and never really state it, because in multiple interviews they've asked him, are you a Democrat or a Republican? And he's declined to say which, because he just doesn't feel like it really matters what he thinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can just be conservative, even if he is. You can just be conservative and not say stupid shit that would hurt people's feelings, especially people who were rounded up and murdered. That's horrible.
Yeah, honestly, it's just bad taste to, bring that up anyways. You don't know who's watching or who actually went through that could be, or like was directly affected by that could be watching this. So it's better to steer clear of stuff like that. I mean,
one thing I want to say, what was her name? Gina?
Yeah, Gina.
Here's a word of advice for you, Gina. Conservatives aren't being pushed into situations where they have to fear for their life.
That's true.
They don't. There's not. Like, for the longest time, I was really big conservative, right? But my thoughts and feelings on certain things have changed over the years, and you gotta let yourself be open-minded to that sort of change. Like, you might not agree with everything, but you can keep an open mind, and you can agree to disagree on stuff, but you don't have to sit there and compare the quote-unquote suffering of conservatives to that of Jewish people who have had to hide in cellars and basements and stuff like that to avoid
death.
To avoid death.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just gonna end it off with saying, like, just because someone says you're a douchebag for thinking something does not mean that you are in the exact same situation as someone who literally had to leave a country because their people were being exterminated. I'm just gonna say that. To put it on a lighter note, however, you guys remember Darwin from X-Men First Class? The guy who's not supposed to die but died anyway?
Yeah.
I've actually got a fun little fact about him now.
Ooh.
Eddie, I'm gonna try and say this the best way I can because it's kind of a, I believe he's Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Nigerian American. Eddie Gathegi, who played Darwin in X-Men First Class, is actually currently playing Mr. Terrific in the new James Gunn Superman, which is being filmed at this exact moment of recording.
Oh, shit.
And his costume looks fucking awesome. Like, everyone on Twitter and stuff, I don't feel like anyone's hating on it. Some people have a weird opinion that the CW Flash or Arrow show did a better costume than the $1,000 movie, which, I mean, his costume isn't hard to do. It's a jacket, pants, and face paint. It's literally it. It's the easiest costume to pull off. Like, I feel like any black cosplayer who wants to do Mr. Terrific, it's like the easiest option of a black superhero to cosplay as. But it does look really good. I'm very happy that he's gonna be in another superhero media thing. Let's just hope they don't fucking kill him off again, because god damn it. But
that
Eddie,
would be a terrible way to like be in movies, is to just go in to be in a movie and be the character that just dies.
Yeah, Sean Bean syndrome.
Yeah, Sean Bean. There's another actor who's actually been in I believe he was in Friday the 13th, Halloween. And I believe he might have been in one of the Chucky movies as well as one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and he's been killed by all four of those characters.
Whoa.
I believe. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I may have it wrong. It may be a different series of movies, like maybe one of them is actually one of the Alien movies, but I just wanted to say, Eddie, good luck. We all here at Tri-Ogy love you, and we hope that you don't die, because wow, that Darwin was total bullshit.
It really was. That was crap.
His character was one of my favorite characters in the movie, honestly. Like, the way he was acting it, he's just a really good actor, and they fucking killed off him. Like, I'm so pissed about that to this day.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna be not mad about that. But that's all my talking points. I guess we could just have a general discussion, like
our favorite moments, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
I guess you could call it one of my favorite moments, but it was more like a moment that just traumatized me. Was just him being sealed inside that oxygenless chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh my god. Like, watching him struggle, he's such a good actor because I felt like I was running out of air just watching him struggle for breath. And I was like, oh my god, because that's like one of my worst fears, is getting trapped in a small space that I can't get out of and not being able to breathe. So yeah, that one really hit me. So it traumatized me, but it's also one of my favorite because it was so accurate to what I believe it would be like.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't happen to me, man. I'd fucking take it like a man. Alex is just a fucking
Yeah,
pussy.
I bet you would. I bet you. You know.
I've got a few things Alex can take like a man, though.
Hey,
Hey.
hey. Don't y'all get that confused.
Still Pride Month.
Jackson is really into that asphyxiation shit. You know, he likes to have the air choked out of him. So.
Yeah, he's a total bottom.
Ajax, daddy, like fucking. I want you to suffocate me, Ajax, please.
He's a power bottom though.
Drain the
It's
oxygen.
like fucking choke me.
Dude,
choke me.
the scene where he like lights the match with his thumb.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like so badass.
Oh, dude,
and then
yeah.
blows up. Just
Yeah.
fucking explodes. So cool. The whole scene of him fighting in the fire, by the way, kind of reminded me of V for Vendetta. Have you guys ever seen V for Vendetta?
Yeah,
Mm.
I saw a little bit of it.
I actually
Yeah, like
haven't
this-
seen that.
Oh, it's a really good one. We should talk about that one sometimes, like soon. That's a really good one. We may be able to do a reaction to that one. But V for Vendetta has a scene, Alex, where it's showing like a flashback to how the character of V was kind of created, and it shows him like rising out of the rubble of this like burned down institution that he like destroyed. And it's like so cool because he's like covered in scars and shit, but you don't really get to see his face the whole movie.
Mhm.
I fucking love that movie. It's so good. It's such a cool visual. Dylan.
Oh, I had. Sorry,
Oh.
I wanted to add one more thing to the fight in the fire.
Go ahead.
Man, maybe I shouldn't have brought this up, but I'm too deep in now. Anyways, did anyone else notice his dick?
Yes, actually, here's the thing. I actually have a fact about that.
Oh, I didn't notice the dick.
Yeah,
I wasn't looking at dicks, Alex. You know.
Well, hey, man, when
Yeah,
you see
it's
a
just
good
flopping
schlong
around
on
out
the
there.
screen, like, you just gotta fixate on it, man.
Was it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was Ryan Reynolds' dick.
I might have to rewatch that
But it
movie
wasn't
again
really-
for
okay, so-
research purposes.
So what they did was he basically was wearing kind of like a Speedo, okay?
Okay.
He was covered head to toe in makeup effects, which was actually one of the longest makeup sessions he had to sit through. But they actually had him in a flesh-covered Speedo. And what they did is they actually went back and CGI'd a dick and balls onto him. For
Thank
those few
God.
scenes.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thank the Lord. We got to see Ryan Reynolds' digital dick. Get some of that sweet CGI cock.
Holy shit.
Cock to spit on that thing.
Oh.
So, Dylan, what were you going to say?
But I think the opening has to be one of my favorite openings of just about any Marvel movie, really.
You talking about like the title sequence with the slowed down everything?
Yeah.
Like when they're going through the credits, like opening credits and all that, where it's like made by the real heroes and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I fucking love that. I love how sarcastic it all is. Like
It
it's
is.
being like made, like produced by some asshat.
Yeah.
Starring
so funny.
this guy and that
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, I do love that. That is funny.
Getting shot up the ass at the beginning was also really funny to me. When he
It's such a funny movie.
It is.
I think my third favorite moment would have to be Stan Lee in the strip club as the announcer.
Dude, it's so funny. Every time I watch that movie or think about that movie, I always forget Stan Lee is the fucking strip club DJ.
What's really crazy is I never expected Stan Lee to ever play, what's the word? Cameo in his any movies as a fucking strip club announcer. That's like
Yeah.
the one that, like, I've seen him as a janitor. I've seen him as just some random dude to talk Spider-Man up. You know, like
Mhm.
bring him up. Like, I think this was Spider-Man 2 that I'm thinking of, where he's like standing next to Peter.
Like,
he
one
gives
man
him-
really can make a difference.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man, fucking. Speaking of cameos or whatever, there's so many references to Rob Liefeld in throughout the movie. Rob Liefeld is the guy who actually created Deadpool for Marvel. He eventually left Marvel to go start his own company with Jim Lee and a few other comic book artists and writers and stuff like that. But he is like, they make jokes about how he's not able to draw feet. He's like, Rob Liefeld is a good artist, but sometimes he draws things in the most abhorred way you've ever fucking seen. Like, on screen right now is one of his most infamous drawing of Captain America, where his chest is just like 2 giant cinder blocks on his fucking chest. It's insane. Like, his proportions are so off and it's crazy. It like hurts. But there's several times there's characters named Rob. There's times where you see Rob Liefeld written down, or just Liefeld on, like, when they're looking at the Deadpool chalkboard, Liefeld is on there.
Now Rob sounds to me kind of like an egotist.
No, he didn't make them put all that stuff in there. They put it in there to like reference the creator of the character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was a producer on the movie, of course. But he wasn't actually like that involved in it. Like, he didn't make creative decisions, because ultimately it's Marvel and Fox that make all the final decisions on what's in and not in the movie. They were just being nice by mentioning the actual creator of Deadpool, because a lot of times people think, oh, every single basic Marvel character, the originals, were all created just by Stan Lee, when really that's not true. Like, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Jack Kirby are the 3 like top dogs who created most of your favorite like Marvel superheroes, and even some DC heroes. Like Jack Kirby created fucking Darkseid for DC. Like, he invented Darkseid and the New Gods and all that stuff. So he's very influential in both DC and Marvel. But yeah, like, they just wanted to be nice and actually mention the true creator of Deadpool.
Now, who came first, Thanos or Darkseid? I can't remember.
Fuck. At the moment, it's kind of escaping me, but I believe Darkseid came first. I believe so. Like, he came out like a couple, maybe months or like a year or 2 before Thanos first appeared. And he's obviously a blatant ripoff. But going back, Deadpool is also a blatant ripoff of Deathstrike, Slade Wilson. You got Slade Wilson Deathstrike, and you have Wade Wilson Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, so like, there's tons of instances of Marvel and DC equally ripping each other off.
Yeah.
Right.
All the fucking time.
Now, one last thing I had as favorite moments in my little list. It's not really a moment, but I just gotta say, Colossus is a good, wholesome Christian boy. I love Colossus in the Deadpool movies.
Colossus is great. I do love him. I love how he Wade like grabs at his ass and he stops him at first, and then Wade does it again. So he's just like, there's no point. He's just gonna keep grabbing at it. I might as well just let him have this moment. Which, I mean, of course, if you're uncomfortable having someone touch you, don't let them. But like,
And actually, I do have a new favorite moment that I haven't written down. That being, "You're a beautiful woman." Where he
he's complimenting Angel as her breasts are exposed. He's trying to get her to cover herself back up, but he's like complimenting her at the same time.
She's like, "Thank you," and then goes to punch him in the gut.
Yeah,
you're a beautiful woman.
No, she punches him in the dick.
Oh, that's right.
She punches him in the dick because you were right. We had a call a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where we were talking about this movie, and you mentioned your poor wife. Like when Deadpool says, "Oh, your poor wife," because Deadpool also tries to punch him in the dick.
Yeah.
So they called back to that when Angel punches him in the dick, and it actually hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, you got something?
I really don't have anything else on my list now.
Gotcha. I just wanted to add one more thing. I'm trying to look up, because I put it in my notes to look this up, and then for some reason never looked it up. But Negasonic Teenage Warhead in the movie can control like sort of combustion type of energy.
Okay.
However, in the comics, that's not actually her power. In the comics, her powers include superhuman strength, speed, durability, and reflexes, matter and energy manipulation, transmutation, precognition, telekinesis, telepathy, flight, and reality alteration. So, none of those include being able to create explosions. So basically, in the movie, they depowered her a lot and gave her a new power.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's really cool. She looks totally
You mind
different.
if I look at that list real quick?
It's
Because
right there. I just
so
read it
she
out.
said matter and energy manipulation. That could probably be the closest thing to the explosions.
Oh
that
yeah,
we're
it's probably the
talking about.
closest thing. But still, like it's like they extremely nerfed her, but then gave her a new power. I feel like honestly one of the writers was like looking for small level X-Men to include, that way they didn't have to pay top dollar for something. And then
Yeah.
they were just like, they saw like a list and found that name. They're like, holy shit, that's awesome. What do they do? And then all their powers had nothing to do with actually being like a warhead. So like, what the fuck? So they just changed her power to actually make it so that she can turn herself into an actual warhead, like explode. Fucking hilarious. I love how Wade isn't a complete dick to her at the beginning. He's just like, what the fuck is that name? That's really cool. And then he even tells them, like, oh, you're a teenager, so it's either gonna be a snarky, mean comment or long, awkward silence. Which is it? And then she just stares at him. She's like, fuck, you got me there. And he's like, ha. So he like actually won that. But yeah. All right. So you guys got anything else?
Oh,
Oh, sound.
I'm all done.
Yeah, that's a wrap for me.
I got all of my
All
talking
right.
points out. So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna probably do this for Deadpool 2 as well. So I guess if you guys like this video, subscribe, like this, share it with your friends if you think they're gonna like it, and come back next time for our next video. We also should already have Top Gun up for the 4th of July, so if you want to see us reacting to a non-Marvel movie, go check that out. Hopefully it's up. If it's not up, trust me, I'm tearing my hair out at the computer screen. But yeah, so that's all from us at Tri-Ogy. We hope you guys have a great day, night, or week, or whatever. And, bye.